Hey everyone, you're listening to Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh and whatever special guest he has today. You can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good. And follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the program. We are on the road. We're coming to you from Williamsburg, Virginia. I took the show on the road because my daughter's graduating from the College of William & Mary, the oldest college in America. So we're in the hotel room instead of the usual backdrop where we have a bookcase full of Party drinks. But it's the same good show, and Todd Peterson is our guest. I caddied for Todd recently when he and his buddies came to the resort where I work at, and he brought some good golfers and good times and really sold golfers at it. But the backstory on Todd, maybe you've known him before. Do a little YouTube Google search, LSU. Okay. Yep. He had a phenomenal hit that went viral. And then his explanation of what pitchers hitting, like, he can do it. Yeah. And he's going to tell us about it in just a sec. I can see him at the bottom. You can't see him now, but loads of personality, loves golf. And we're going to get into his life story in being a pro baseball player, but always trying to fit golf in because he loves the game that much. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, would you please do so? Because that matters to the analytics, the algorithms and everything with YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Leave a 5-star review. For everybody that's done that already, some 14,000 of you, I appreciate it. And would you tell a friend about it? If, by the way, big thanks to our title sponsor, Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course and you're tired of crappy seltzers and beer makes you feel fat and stiff, makes it hard to swing, try a Party. For golfers, by golfers, you will absolutely love it. And if you don't have it at the place where you play golf, get in touch with the pro golf staff and also the beverage staff, and they will get you set up with that. Paradise Craft Distributors is the exclusive distributor, Party Drinks, across the state of Florida. If golf real estate is in your plans, nobody better than the golf real estate pros of Gene Walsh, Vince Vizzacaro, and Samantha Walsh, suncoastdreams.com, a division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area. We are based at Lakewood National Golf Club. There's inventory available, some great purchases. It's a good time to buy, and not just Lakewood National Golf Club, but across the street at Calusa Country Club. And if all that golf has got you tired, then go to Pilot Spa in downtown Sarasota. Get yourself a hot tub, red light therapy, cold water plunge, a massage, all that stuff. Kind of sounds like something that you'd be into. You got to be a Metro guy. You strike me as a Metro guy, Todd.
I love it. Hey, Kevin, first off, I want to say, heck of an intro right there. That was awesome. You put that one on the tee and hit it 350. Appreciate that. I'm excited for this podcast. You know, we had you on the bag at Stream Song for 3 days in a row, played 72 holes. You were great. We all loved it. Had a hell of a time. So I'm looking forward to it. I think the only thing we missed was some of your Party drinks. So going to look forward to a case of those down the road.
We'll get that arranged for you at a later time. But let me tell you, Todd, I really enjoyed having you and the gang, Jake, James, and Kyle on board because it was sort of like a bachelor party thing, but it was a very controlled thing because to me it seemed you were really there for the golf, and that makes such a difference. At the heart of it, you guys are golf geeks, yes?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. You could tell that one.
Yeah. So you guys show up, and well, first, I'm fascinated by the background there. Where are you joining us from, and what's all that stuff behind you? Why don't you do a show and tell? Just pick up the computer and take a walk around.
So we're at my apartment in Manhattan. That's where I moved a couple months ago. As you can see here, I've got my lovely display shelf of some baseball goods. I got right here when I was in Mexico, played down there. I had an incentive, $250 for every save I got. This is the first one I had. I had 4 total. I've got a College World Series National Championship ring, runners up to University of Florida. Never going to let that one down. Got a couple of my gloves over here, some gamers. This is one that I thought was pretty cool on the side right here. I kind of put Shake and Bake, Ricky Bobby. So threw that on there, show some love. But yeah, kind of put that together. Then over here we've got one of the collabs I did with Go to Golf in my home course in Orlando, Links of Lake Mary. Did some towels, head covers, got some of the mini goats, and of course the Stream Song scorecards over there. So ready to rock and excited to do it.
That it looks way too organized. It looks great. I'm guessing you had some help putting it all together, arranging it.
I did, for sure. I think I came home with all of my gloves and my bag full of stuff, and I went to work and showed up later in the day, and my girlfriend kind of put everything together for me. So props to Liv Johnson for that one. So she likes to keep it nice and tidy for me.
Good. That's excellent. By the way, that's my wife walking around in the background. If you haven't seen it, and if your girlfriend walks through, fantastic.
Hey, she's getting her nails done. I told her it was podcast time. Go get your nails done. Yeah.
Oh, so she's having a princess day.
Exactly.
Perfect.
She's prepping for our wedding in Cancun. So that's what it is.
Fantastic. I mentioned it in the beginning. Why don't you walk me through the viral incident that happened at LSU?
Yeah. So I think that one just kind of took off and ran, to be honest. It was SEC tournament. We were a bubble team, which means we were kind of on the verge of making the playoffs, missing the playoffs. And, every game mattered at that point. So it was a must-win game. Our first baseman was also like our setup guy, part-time closer. We kind of shared that role. He came in, I think, pitched the 5th, 6th, 7th inning. Came out and went to first base. I came in the 8th inning. Was throwing really well. We had a tie ball game. Ended up going into the 12th inning, and I'm sitting on the bench, and one of my teammates is like, "Dude, I think you're gonna have to hit." And I'm locked in on the bench, just dominating, feeling good on the mound. I'm like, "Dude, leave me alone. Like, let me stay in my zone." And turns out, Coach Maneri pulls me down to the end of the dugout and was like, "Hey, like, your spot's coming up in the order. We can either pull you and bring in a pinch hitter and then bring in another arm in relief, or you can go up there and, kind of take 3 strikes and strike out and go finish the game." And I told him, I was like, "Look, I'm not coming out of the game. I've been feeling really good. I'm shoving right now. I'm staying in here no matter what. I'll just go up there, do my part, strike out." So I'm on deck. We end up having, I think, runners on first and second. Guy ahead of me hits a double, scores 1. We took the lead there. I start walking up to the plate. South Carolina changes their pitcher. I end up walking over to Coach Maneri and basically just told him that, hey, they're getting scared. Like, why are they pulling the pitcher? I'm not a hitter. This is my first time up here. So he asked me if I had ever hit before. I told him, of course. The confidence came in and fell back to the batting practice days of high school. Ended up going up there, got to take some swings, got a fastball and crushed it off the wall. So it was kind of funny how that worked. And then I think afterwards, as soon as I hit the bat on the ball, I just went blackout on adrenaline. Just didn't know what was going on. Didn't know how far the ball went. Started running the bases. The ball could have went over the fence and I would have had no idea. It would have stopped on second base. So from that point, I think for the next 2-3 days, I was pretty much blackout off adrenaline, just pumping, ready to go. And of course, all the interviews after ended up going viral.
Well, that's the thing. So I got a taste of it over 3 days. You're a ham. You're a showman, right? So you brought that to the press conferences, and that's kind of, the hit was great, but it was more like the selling of the after fact. Would you agree with that?
100%. Whenever ESPN posts a clip, it's always the interviews, and it's never the actual hit of me hitting the double. So I think that kind of sells itself right there. But yeah, I think one of the funny parts too was we were walking through the tunnel, and South Carolina's coach was walking down the tunnel going the other way, and he looked at me. And background on that, he used to coach at University of South Florida, and I'm from Orlando. He recruited me to go over there. I loved him as a coach. I loved the program, but I wanted to keep my doors open. Ended up going to LSU. He transferred over to South Carolina. Saw him in the tunnel, and he basically told me, like, "Look, man, I recruited you to do that for me, not against me, and quote unquote, you big dummy." And then I kind of laughed at him, and at the end of the day, I had the last laugh there as we ended up winning the game. So it was a pretty funny moment right there.
That was a great moment. You mentioned Orlando, where you're from. Take me back to the old neighborhood. Which street did you grow up on? What was life like? Let me feel.
Yeah. So I'm from Lake Mary, just outside of Orlando. Depending on the day, it could be a 10-minute drive or it could be a 45-minute drive. But grew up around sport. My family kind of raised me playing all of the above. My dad played college basketball and he swam. So I had that background swimming, mixed martial arts, golf. Baseball came when I was about 8 and 9 years old. And I remember I was walking through Target, found a bright yellow bat and was like, hey, I want that. They ended up buying it for me and just kind of picked up the sport from then and was always hitting the ball further than everyone, throwing harder than everyone. So kind of stuck with it and ran. But grew up there, ended up going to college at LSU out of high school, and then obviously got drafted after my junior year and played for 7 years with the Nationals.
So being a pitcher, well, you're a big guy. How tall are you?
About 6'4", 6'5" with cleats on. That's normally what we say.
Got it. Yeah, I would have said 6'6".
Yeah.
But you threw gas. What pitches did you throw and how hard?
So I always had a really good fastball and a really good slider. For me, I never really had the changeup. Developed that a little bit later in my career, and then I also developed a sweeper. I was always a power guy. Fastball was up to 99.9 on TrackMan. Never hit 100. There's always a goal for me, even as a senior in high school. That was kind of the goal. I got up to 98 my senior year, but got up to 99.9. The stadium gun said 102. So, I can go both ways with it, but I'll keep the integrity and go off the analytical data there. But yeah, I was always a fastball slider guy and then mixed in a bigger break with the sweeper and try to work in that changeup, but kind of struggled with that with it a little bit.
Todd Peterson is our guest here on Party Time, pro baseball player, avid golfer. He was one of my loops about a week ago. We're recording this on Thursday, May 14th. So it was last week. Loves golf more than anybody I know. I'd put him on a short list of the longest people I've seen off the tee. Hits just a bombing fade when he gets a hold of it, which is pretty much all the time. Explain to me golf and the pro baseball culture, just how important golf is to pitchers and catchers in particular, but just pro baseball in general.
Yeah, I think when you look at the sport of baseball at the professional level, I mean, you're playing 6 days a week in the minor leagues. In the big leagues, you can go 10 to 14 days in a row playing, where it's constant, it's nonstop. You're traveling a lot. You're always on the road. And I think for me, having golf was kind of I don't necessarily want to use the word escape, but it was, my home away from home. And it was a chance to kind of step away from the field a little bit, because it's what we're doing every single day. Show up to the field at 1 o'clock and you're leaving at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So you're there for most of the day, but you get an off day, you get a day game, you get to go out and play a little bit. So it was really nice, kind of reliever for a lot of the baseball guys. We had a good group that would go and play. We were pretty consistent. We would have every occasional Wednesday day game. And then Sundays were day games always. And then Mondays were an off day. So I would always try to play. I'd bring my sticks on the road. I'd always try to get a group going and get out either before the game if we didn't have stretch until 4 o'clock, or after the game. I'm always calling the course and trying to find a deal somewhere around town. So I think it was a big part. We always had golf on in the locker room. I was the guy putting it on all the time, but we were always watching it, had the tournaments going. And I think too, once college football came on, it's just, we're always locked in the TV, on our downtime.
Of course. Now, were you America's guest like John Smoltz was? And I kind of know how he worked it. How did you work it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. I think that I was one of the guys that would not afraid to call the courses, would ask to talk to the head pro or, whoever's in charge at the shop and try to have a conversation and let them know that, we're here for baseball. We're in town. Would love to exchange some tickets. Would love to get you out to come check out a game, get you a hat or some gear, and would love to change it for some tee times. And a lot of those guys love sport. And I think that once you just have that conversation with them and kind of play that friendly role and let them know that, hey, we're all loving golf and we all love sports. So we'd always change out the tee times for a baseball ticket.
Yeah, it's the barter system. As long as you have something good to reciprocate with, like pretty much everybody's on board. It never hurts to ask. And I think you played it just great. What's the best round of golf you've ever played? Lowest round you ever shot?
So in 2021, I shot 2 under twice. I shot a 69 at Atlantic National in Lake Worth, just outside of West Palm. And then a month later, I flew to Arizona for the Arizona Fall League, and I shot a 68 on Wigwam Gold Course, I believe. I think they have 3 courses over there, par 70, but just one of those days where everything was working. Would bomb it down the fairway, have a flip wedge in, and I was just making every putt and was locked in. I was completely dialed in no matter what. And all my boys were kind of like, dude, talk a little bit. It's all right to have fun. And I'm like, have you ever gone under par before? Like I'm locked in right now. Like I'm staying in that zone, right in flow state.
Well, once you got there, what was the high like, the feeling? You accomplished it.
I mean, it was sick. I think the second time when at Wigwam, I was 6 under through 7 holes.
Oh,
I was off to a really hot start. Was feeling really good. Get to hole 8. It was a par 5. And I end up hitting a bomb down the fairway, hit my second shot into the green side bunker, take a shot out of the bunker, hit it right back in. Shot out of the bunker, hit it right back in. Shot out of the bunker, hit it right back in. And I'm like, dude, this is what we're doing at 6 under. And given it was the first time I've been in the bunker all day. So finally get it out, make the putt. I ended up taking a double bogey, go to the next hole. I took a triple bogey, go to the next hole, bogey that. So now I finished the front 9 at 2 under. And then we go to hole 10, and same thing. It's a par 5. Bomb one down the fairway, second shot in a green side bunker. Hit my first shot out of the bunker, right back in it. Second shot, right back in it. Third shot, I hole it out for a par. And then the rest is history from there. And I ended up finishing even par on the back to shoot 2 under. So it was crazy because I thought about it and I'm like, I just had 6 strokes out of 2 bunkers. Like,
yeah, that is all over the place. We got to clean that up. Okay. Next time you come, we're going to clean some things up, right? Because you're a good player, but you're a better player than you think you are. And I think you know that. You just need a little bit of help and clean some things up. Tell me this. I hear pro athletes say, like, when people watch them play golf, when they play in pro-ams or whatever, they're far more nervous than when they're doing their thing on the mound or whatever. How do you feel?
I mean, I think at that scale, like a pro-am or kind of in a tournament, 100%. I think you'd be more nervous on the golf course than in your own sport. For me, for baseball on the mound, I pitch in front of 30,000 people, and I've grown up doing it my whole life. I've got millions of reps on the mound. I've thrown endless amount of pitches, and I've done it a million times. I can go out there and do it with my eyes closed. But, if I'm standing on the tee with a gallery down the ropes, I don't think I'm necessarily going to shank it, but I do think my knees would kind of be shaking on the tee box a little bit. But I think after, a hole, maybe 9, I would kind of lock in and settle in a little bit. But, hey, who knows? We'll see.
Well, golf's a humbling sport. I certainly know that. Baseball, I played it, not at the level you did, is humbling. Which is more humbling in your opinion?
I mean, I think golf. You just strictly going back to the story of being 6 under through 7 and then taking 3 strokes out of 1 bunker is like, you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, what are we doing here? I can go on the mound and give up a homer and come back to the next guy. But I think golf is one of those things where it's you versus yourself. Baseball, I've got 8 guys behind me playing defense. After I make that pitch, it's not my hands anymore. In golf, you're fully in control every shot, how you prepare, where you're trying to aim, the reads you're taking. So I think golf is definitely a lot more humbling in the sense that it's literally you versus you, and it's strictly in your mind.
So you have some 50,000 followers on Instagram. It seems like you're kind of approaching the influencer. Well, I'd say at that number, you are an influencer. Don't have a YouTube channel. You got to work on that, Todd. You got to get that going.
I do.
But is that the future? Are we crossing that bridge? And what about baseball? I know you're taking the year off, but are we done with pro ball? What's going on?
That's a good question. I think I'm always going to look at myself and say I'm not done. I think at any given moment, if a team called, I'm going to be ready to go. I still train, I still play catch. So I don't want to write that one off just yet. But we'll see what happens down the road. Next year there's going to be a big CBA agreement coming up, and there's a lot of rumors going around. So who knows what will happen, and we'll just kind of play it by ear on that note.
Tell me about your girlfriend. She did a great job arranging your memorabilia and all the stuff behind you. Love a good love story. Let's hear yours. Come on, give it up.
I got to give it to the power of social media. Instagram DMs are one for one right there. Met the love of my life on there. Ended up chatting for a couple months, and then she came out to see me when I was on a rehab stint in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And, we kind of just, at first sight was, locked in and kind of loved each other. And then I flew out to California to see her. That was my first time out there. Of course, I brought the sticks. I had to go play, and she was all on board for it. Thank goodness. So that kind of also helped sell the point a little bit. But yeah, ever since then, she, went to Fresno, and then she ended up getting a job in Orlando, which was right where I'm from. And a little background on that, she works in TV in the business, as you've done that for many years. She studied journalism at Syracuse. She rose the ranks through, reporting, going through all the different news stations. And she's now at New York City, and she is the meteorologist here. So she's worked her way up for sure. And it's very lateral to the professional baseball ranks. You start at the bottom, you got to grind your way to the top.
100%. So her story is similar to mine. I mean, she got to, New York's the number one market. And for those that don't know, the story that Todd, or the examples he's giving, is like, my first TV job was in Guam. That would have been like rookie ball. And then I went to Honolulu, Hawaii. That'd be like high AA, AAA.
Hey, that sounds like a pretty cool gig, though.
Oh, it was. Oh, trust me. I mean, being in Hawaii.
You learn how to surf?
Oh yeah. I surfed. Yeah, the Halle boy went out to the North Shore and got a lot of stink eye but I got a couple good rides in there. But my surfing was not impressive. Let's put it that way. You wouldn't look at me and say, "Man, he can really move." I could ride the waves, but if my rule was on the North Shore, if it was above 8 feet, I don't go out. That's for pros only. You can absolutely kill yourself. Todd Peterson is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try a Party. A lot better than those crappy seltzers you're pretending taste good, or beer. The Golf Real Estate Pros of Gene Walsh, Samantha Walsh, and Vince Visicaro, suncoastdreams.com. Division of Fine Properties in the greater Sarasota area, and Violet Spa in downtown Sarasota. Got you covered. Tell me a good golf story or a baseball story, your go-to one that you tell over beers or parties or whatever.
Yeah, I think one that really sticks out was pretty recent. Last year, I finished, baseball at the Nationals, went down to Mexico, played there for a couple months. Right when I got there was about 2 weeks before our All-Star break. So get down to Mexico, get in the flow a little bit. I get my group of guys that, I kind of understand that play some golf, and had a trip planned to Cabo. And, I get there, I start chatting him up in the outfielder and BP, and ask if he's got one more guy available. He's like, "Yeah, book your flight. Let's do it." So we ended up flying down to Cabo. I think the first day we did a fishing trip. We went and caught some rooster fish, which was bucket list. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna get that framed here soon. And then the second day we went and played Quivira. That was, I think, probably one of the coolest courses that I played. Oceanfront, you got holes on the side of a cliff. They had 3 of their snack stations throughout the course. I think the first one was on hole 6. And you finish hole 5, you start driving up the side of this mountain, and then you get a little rest area for the snack station. And I would love to, put it in here and get a little video of it, but it's the snack station on side of the cliff, and you're looking at the water, and then right in front of you, you've got the tee box, and you got a short little par 4, and you're like, "Oh man, this is what I'm getting ready for right here." So obviously you grab your drink at the snack station, you go up on the tee and you hit the ball, and it's like just crazy, playing golf on the side of a mountain right there was a really cool trip. But I think that was, a little dream vacation that we got to do, and got to play a sick track and got to catch a rooster fish. So that was one of them that I'm I'm really looking.
I'm going to put the rooster fish on my bucket list because I fish too, and I've seen them caught. Crazy looking fish. Do they fight like hell? They must, right?
Oh, they do for sure. So I think within like the first 30 minutes of us being out there, I had hooked onto one, fought it for about 45 minutes, got it halfway to the boat, and it took off. And I was like, oh my God, I lost it. And then this is actually a funny story I'm about to tell. Then I end up catching a rooster fish. I get it, reel it in, take my picture with it, 34-inch rooster. I'm like, let's go. I got one. Obviously, I flew to Cabo with my buddy, and he had this whole trip planned. His bucket list fish is the rooster fish. So I catch my rooster. We've got about 2 hours left in the charter. He hooks onto a jack, and this jack is probably 70 inches. This thing's well over 100 pounds. He's reeling it in, fighting it for about an hour and a half. He gets it next to the boat, can't reel it in. He's like telling the charter, he's like, look, man, I really wish a shark would come and, eat this fish. Kind of hoping that he would clip the line, but ended up not. The jack got off the hook. The charter's like, all right, look, we're going to do one more lap and then we're coming back. My phone had just died and I was playing music. And I told him, I was like, dude, last trip, last loop right here, throwing a song. He plays Rooster by Alice in Chains. And I think within the first 15 seconds of the song, he hooks onto a rooster. You see the fins come up, grab the bait, just take it off. He ends up fighting this thing for, I'm not even kidding, at least an hour. It's a long fight. Our charter captain's like, he's like, let's get this in the boat. Like, we're already behind time. Like, let's go, let's get it. And the whole time I told him, I'm like, look, I'm not turning off Rooster until you bring this rooster fish in the boat.
That's a hard song to listen to on a loop. It's a great
I'll
song.
tell you what, I was all for it. After that, every time I hear that song, I'm envisioning him reeling in that rooster. And then he ends up getting in the boat, of course, after playing that song 45 times. He's got like a 42-inch rooster fish, and I'm pumped for him, because it was his trip, and I ended up getting the rooster before him. But it was funny that it worked out, and we literally played Rooster by Alice in Chains the entire hour and a half that he was fighting the fish. So
I had a loop not that long ago with a pilot, and his call name was Rooster, and they were playing it all day long. After a while, great song, but I think after like the 20th time, I was ready. Can we shuffle? Can we get the shuffle going on here?
I love it.
So have you ever considered turning pro as a golfer?
I mean, I think that's a dream, right? I think for me, once I got into baseball, kind of realized that I was really good from a young age, wrote it out, trained really hard, went to college, obviously had pro ambitions for baseball in high school. I wanted to be a first round pick. Ended up having opportunities. I turned it down for some money, went to LSU, had a blast for my 3 years there. But I think once I started getting back into golf, probably during COVID, there was a lot of thoughts going through my head about it. But at the end of the day, I knew that, pro baseball is probably where it's going to be at for now. But who knows? I'm 28. I like to say I'm young, and I'm not going to weigh that out now. So we'll see.
Well, even if you didn't pursue it on, hold on a sec here, Todd. There we go. Even if you didn't pursue it on a competitive level professionally, I could see you being a PGA pro if you have that desire, because you certainly have the personality for it, and I think the patience. I mean, you're a good athlete, but I think you were mostly patient when I was on the bag for you. So what's the next golf trip? And is Jake, James, and Kyle a part of it?
Good question. So the next dedicated golf trip, I don't know if I have that planned yet, but like I said earlier, I'm going to Cancun next weekend. I'm planning on bringing the sticks. We'll see if the girlfriend's happy about that, but I'm probably going to bring them, try to get out there and go play around. That would be pretty sweet. Other than that, I don't have one planned. I know Jake is right around the corner from me here. He's a member at a club out in Huntington and Long Island. We go play out there all the time. We're thinking about going this weekend, maybe get that same group out there. But I don't know where the next, dedicated golf trip will be. I'm looking forward to planning it, but we'll see. I don't have it there yet. You got any recommendations?
Just come on back and see me again.
I love it.
You won't go wrong there. Tell me about your shirt, Goated, because you had a screaming orange putter, and I know you do some work with Goated. What is it and what do you do?
Great question. Yeah. So Go to Golf, they have been around for about 2 years now. They're basically a golf brand that specializes in putters. The whole idea is celebrating GOATs, the greatest of all time. Every month they'll pick a different athlete and they'll do a drop surrounding them. And, they'll do putters, head covers, grips, polos, hats, kind of all of the apparel that you would need on a golf course. And the really cool thing about the company is that they are fully customizable. We were at a sports bar across from Yankee Stadium called Billy's. Was talking to the owner, and they go through a ton of merch every year, and we're talking to them about representing them and partnering up with them to do some of their gear going forward. So it was really cool. They flew me out kind of all over the country in the last couple months. They flew me over to California. We went to Pinehurst, went to Vegas, Utah. So it was really cool. But a little story about that putter that you're talking about. It's the Cal Ripken drop. So they did that a couple months back, and I'm a baseball guy, but I wasn't necessarily the biggest Cal Ripken guy or the favorite color of orange. And when they flew me out to California, they sent out a golf bag full of demo putters. So they had probably 10 to 15 different putters in there, and they were all different between blades, thin blades, thick blades, blades with weights, mallets. They got different, mills on the faces, all had a different feel. And I went and played around in Vegas. We went and played with Melosi. He's a golfer in the influencer space. And I brought out that putter the day before, started raining putts, and was like, I got to put this in my bag. So we ended up going and play with Melosi and one of his buddies who was, I think he's like a +3 handicap. Mm-hmm. I ended up shooting like 75 on the day, was making 12, 15 footers all over the place. And at the end of the round, his buddy was pretty much like, that was a top 5 putting performance I've ever seen. And since then I kind of told him, I was like, look, I got to put this putter in the bag. And I think since then it's probably shaved 4 or 5 strokes off my game. I got the confidence over those 4 or 5, 6 footers that I used to kind of have the knee shaking a little bit, and now I get up there with confidence and kind of put in the back of the cup.
Yeah, you put some in with purpose. You put some in with purpose on that. And it was a cool putt. Well, I kind of fiddled around with it too. It felt great and it looked good. And if Cal Ripken Jr. is your guy, or whoever is your guy, I think that's a home run 100%. In the merchandise market.
Yeah, right. I would say check out for them though, because they go quick. They do the limited drops. Yeah. So they make a numbered amount of them, and then.
Well, you had number one of like 8,700. I could see it. I'm like, man, you got the one. You must be special.
Yeah. It was a demo putter and ended up staying in my bag. So thanks, Goated, for that one.
Cool stuff. Todd, hey, let's keep in touch. Listen, folks, follow Todd on @Todd_Peterson 43. It's been scrolling across the bottom of your screen throughout the show. He's an interesting guy just for the baseball stuff, the social media stuff, and also the golf stuff. And come on back with the boys, and I'll roll with you guys again anytime. Work for you?
100%, Kevin. Definitely will do. I just want to let you guys know I'm working on some TP43 hit bombs, throw gas merch. So once that drops, we'll be running that live on the Instagram, and you guys can get yours there. So Kevin, thanks again for hosting this. This was amazing. I'm really happy that you had me on here. I had a blast with you on the bag, and looking forward to our next trip.
Yeah, anytime. So when you launch that stuff, come on back, because I'm sure you'll have new golf stories, especially with that crew you roll with. I love it. The next trip will have plenty of material to mine from.
Exactly. Hey, I'll trade you some merch, and you trade me some of those party drinks.
Oh, that's a given. Yeah, we got to do that off the golf course, but that can be arranged. Don't worry about that. Todd Peterson has been our guest here on Party Time. Professional baseball player, avid golfer. Big thanks to Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try a Party. If golf real estate is in your plans, nobody better than the golf real estate pros at suncoastdreams.com. Gene Walsh, Samantha Walsh, and Vince Vizzacaro, and BioLit Spa in downtown Sarasota. For Todd Peterson, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, my golf story.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.